And what they will tell you, what my parents would say if they were here, is that for many, many years, the older generations of black people were very respectful, very humble, very decent. In fact, my grandma used to have an anecdote. She grew up in a lot of dysfunction. Her mother was mentally ill, and they would be having dinner in the projects, and there'd be so much chaos and dysfunction and disagreement and fighting. And she would look across the way out the window at a black family in the other apartment, and they'd be holding hands around the table saying grace. And this is sort of the culture that used to prevail. But now what you have in the city is that there's no accountability for the black people. And now Chicago has become a complete dump because these teenagers go out and they take over the city. They call them teen takeovers. That's the euphemism for it. They're teenagers, but they all come from the same neighborhood. They drive up there and they mug people and attack people and they destroy cars and destroy shops. We had the Festival of Lights a couple of weeks ago. It's supposed to be a family event. And they light up the trees and they, there's a big parade. I was in the parade one year and you had a bunch of black people there shooting each other. 7 people shot, a 14-year-old killed in the Magnificent Mile. And I know there's a lot of black people that feel the same way about this. They say, we've lost control of the city and we're looking for accountability. We have a lot of black people that are always outraged about racism, outraged about attitudes from white people, but they're never ashamed of some of these behaviors, never ashamed of some of the things that go on. And that's why
I just thought I'd let a bit of that play extra just so that you could see Nick's own response to that, because it was really a very underhanded blow to try and bring his own father into it. His father, who I don't believe had ever been named on the public record as well before. So putting his full name out into the public square was not only very sleazy, but could have very dangerous real-life repercussions for Nick's father if people watch this and decide that they want to try to get to the source of Nick Fuentes, given that he's trying to suggest through that, oh, this is an environment of racism which has bred Nick Fuentes, who is now the greatest threat to democracy. We just had Charlie Kirk get shot. Just 3 months ago, right? Yeah. And now that you're putting private citizens' names out into the public square off of the basis of random anecdotes that Nick was telling on his own show, you are an utter scumbag, Piers Morgan. You are the lowest of the low to try and do this for the sake of a gotcha moment. Nick said that, oh, this isn't an ambush. I think he was being very kind to you by saying that in the moment, because it very clearly was an ambush to try and throw him off for the rest of the interview. And I've got to commend him on how well he was able to compose himself for the rest of the discussion that they had, to the point where he was really, that was Piers' only moment of getting the upper hand, even for a brief second through the rest of the interview, because the rest of it really did come off as quite a domineering performance from Nick. Not to glaze him too much or anything. Of course, Piers seems to think that he won this whole exchange with possibly the most pure, unfiltered cringe I've ever seen in my life, because obviously everyone was calling him a boomer. Boomer Piers, Boomer Morgan. He responds, memo to all groypers. When you call me a boomer, I take it as a massive compliment. I literally use the word boom constantly on here to celebrate everything from Arsenal goals to England wickets and Piers' uncensored ratings. I'm a very proud boomer, accompanied by, of course, this gif of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man saying, boom.
Tony Stark, Piers Morgan, same energy.
He has to be rage baiting. There's no way.
I think his entire life is rage baiting, but I also think that I think this is him. I think this is who he is. He is, this is him in all sincerity. And if this was me in all sincerity, I would hope that I don't wake up tomorrow morning. Personally, if I knew that I had to live a day as Piers Morgan, I would rather take the eternal slumber. Personally, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But obviously,
I can't believe you actually said
what we're focusing on is the personal attacks, the bringing the family into what should have been a discussion.
You gotta love these guys, these Gen Z Englishmen. They keep it real right now. They keep it real. I salute to them. Salute to them. I'm a new fan of this podcast, so people always say about the Englishmen, they got the stereotypes like, they're not gay, but they're English. These guys seem very stoic in the way he seems very stoic in the way he speaks. These two, I rock with that.
About Nick, about his beliefs, trying to throw him off just for the sake of a gotcha moment, which has had some pretty negative repercussions for Piers, because Nick, quite rightly, was furious about this.
He caught me off guard. That was so shitty what he did with my father. Because he knows what he's doing. He says he doxed my dad too. He says my father's name and then says, oh, your dad's racist and this is his name. That was low. And everyone knows what he was doing there. Everybody knows. And now you put a target on my dad. I hope you know that. So I hope you're happy with yourself. And that is out of line, actually. Family should be off limits. I'm in the arena. You want to call me a racist? I'm the one doing the show. My father's not a public figure. He's not political. So that's the only part that did bother me, because that is bullshit. And I won't get mad. You can attack me all you want. I don't care. But, my father, leave him out of it. He's a civilian. And that was low. I mean, you should know better than that. You're on television. You've got 1 million+ followers on Twitter. You're a major celebrity. You're naming a random private person. And he knows that he's inciting political attacks on my dad and my family and my parents' fucking livelihood. My parents have cancer. They're fucking sick.
Yeah, and as a result of all of that, he's now said that, you want to come after my father and his livelihood, your whole family is fair game now. And in a game of tit for tat, sadly, that is how it's going to work, Piers. You are the one who felt low enough to actually take these tactics in the first place. So it's only fair if people come after you as well. Of course, I have already seen some people, supposedly on Nick's side, who have been disavowed, going after his youngest daughter, which I don't think it's worth it to stoop that low. No. But the thing, and I also think the comments themselves were disgusting, but people fixated on one particular part of this interview and thought, there has to be a reason that Piers holds these views.
Okay, but it's fine. Where were we? We're talking about Trump.
Well,
Somehow we got
on
into
Trump,
you're
look,
white
on
knighting for
Trump-
women's rights.
Well, I think women should have the same rights as you and I. You don't. That's fine.
Put on the pink hat, bro. Put on the pink hat. We're waiting.
What's the pink hat for?
For the march, for the women's march? Are we going to see you at the women's march protesting for women's rights and all that?
Yeah.
I think women should have equal rights to men. Period.
You carry tampons in case your female friends get a period or something? Like, it's crazy.
Oh.
The
I'd
white knighting is
have no problem
diabolical.
giving a female friend a tampon, would you? Give her,
So
I don't know if
brave,
You've ever seen a
stunning.
tampon, have you?
Gross. Absolutely not.
What,
Get
you
that away
think
from me.
tampons are gross?
Yeah, they're filled with period blood. Yeah, it's kind of gross. Are you into that? You like that? You
Have you
got
ever
a
seen
lot of
it? I don't
tampons?
think you've ever seen it, have you?
I've seen them. I've seen them before.
You've been that close
Yeah.
to a woman? Really?
No, I've seen them. Look, I used to live with women, so I've seen them around the
I bet
house.
you've seen videos, haven't you?
What? What are we doing here, Piers?
I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
what are we
You're
doing
more impressed
right
that I'm a
now?
misogynist than you are about anything. It's
Not
very
really.
revealing.
I'm actually more exercised about your blatant, self-admitted racism than I'm.
I mean, honestly, like that's the complete reasonable response here. Like, what the hell are you doing, Piers?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Why is Piers' main like he wants to
That's
drill down and
disgusting.
interrogate? Do you watch the female members of your family put their tampons in? Do you carry tampons around? Tampons are amazing. They're delightful. They're incredible.
Oh, that's getting clipped.
Says Piers Morgan. Right, like he's trying to make it out like it's just cool and normal. Like if he actually does, like obviously, all he was doing there was reacting to Nick's bait. Nick baited him the whole way through there. But like, if you do have a male friend who's like overtly kind about like tampons and period business, and they like actually want to carry tampons just in case one of their female friends just happens to go on their period then and there, that guy's a creep.
Well, it reminds me of like a transgender when they carry tampons, and I'm starting to think in the movie Home Alone that Piers Morgan was actually the woman.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, oh, the pigeon lady.
Yeah.
So true.
Never seen them in the same place together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of creep does that? A guy who does that is the only kind of guy who's going to try. He's just doing it to get you to like him, and so he can get close to you, so that then he can get close to you, right? Or he's just virtue signaling, and that's all that this was. But people went like, "This is a really weird thing to virtue signal about, pretending that periods and tampons aren't gross."